Hi guys, Catmaster here with another video. Today we start in the 3.10 patch, Path of Exile Delirium League. If you don't know anything yet, I'm gonna cover everything in this video and just quickly give you an idea of what's new, what's good, and what I'm gonna play. Hi guys, Catmaster here. Today we start in the Delirium League, which comes with the Path of Exile 3.10 expansion. Before we go into the video where I explain what is new, what's good, and what I'm going to play, I quickly want to address all the new subscribers on the channel. I apologize for the lack of videos during the last 30 days, but nevertheless the channel has grown by 10% of its size. We went from 5,000 to 5,500 subs in the last 30 days. So thank you guys all for the overwhelming support. I again apologize for the lack of videos. Going forward on this channel, we'll have at least 2 videos per week, probably more. And then whenever I finish a big project, like what I'm currently working on is a Flask video where I explain Flask setups in Path of Exile with a little bit higher production quality than just me rambling for one take and editing a little bit, but more scripted out. That sort of stuff is going to be released also on average once per week, but you know, sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter. If you want me to be able to commit more time to producing videos on YouTube, or even want me to be able to hire an editor who helps me finish the videos after I script them out, record them, and plan them, then feel free to jump over to my Patreon and pledge for a support tier starting at the minimum of, I think, €1 per month. Of course, nothing's expected, guys, but if you want to support me, come check out the stream, subscribe to the YouTube, like the videos, and check out my Patreon. That's the only way I can stay competitive as a small content creator. So I apologize for, you know, the same intro on every video, but you have to draw attention to those kind of things. Going into Delirium, the mechanic will present us a mirror of Delirium in every zone or map. This mirror of Delirium you walk through to activate the encounter, and that makes everything covered in fog. Once activated, the mobs in the instance will become more deadly, and new Delirium specific monsters will also be generated. This of course makes killing monsters more rewarding as well, and you can use other encounters, all kinds of sub-content like incursion, breaches, etc., while under the effect of the Delirium. The effect of the Delirium are likely going to be limited to around 1 minute from what we've heard so far, and you can kind of cancel them if you think they're too hard by going backwards toward the mirror. However, the further you go away from the mirror, walking distance, the further you stray into the Delirium, the harder it gets, and you can also fight bosses under the influence of this Delirium. In the case of a boss fight, the decay of the Delirium is slightly slowed so that you're more likely to complete the boss fight during the Delirium influence. Rewards exclusive to these encounters include Orbs of Delirium, which you can add to your map in order to gain permanent Delirium effects on those maps. Up to 5 can be applied per map for full Delirium effect. They cannot be added to unique maps, but they might become applicable to blighted maps in the early stage of the league. The endgame, the Simulacrum, is a splinter-based map similar to Breach Splinters or Legion Splinters. You combine 100 splinters for 1 item that you can open in your map device. There seems to be only 1 type, and we got no details in regards to area level or monster level, but Rory and Neon talked a little bit on the Bayclast podcast about this. They said that it's going to be wave-style combat with a boss in the end. So there's a couple of waves getting harder and harder, and in the end there's a boss. I kind of think there will be some sort of way that this is difficult, that this is different in difficulty depending on when you open it, but we have, again, no details, so it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the Simulacrum is and how it will work. There's a new jewel types, the cluster jewels. GGG changed all the outer jewel sockets to cluster jewel sockets, in which you will be able to socket the new cluster jewels. These jewels generate new passive clusters that you can path into, and that way you can further customize your own build tree. They can chain, right? You can put medium cluster jewels into sockets in large cluster jewels, and you can put small cluster jewels into sockets in medium cluster jewels. Therefore, one socket will grant upwards to like 26 passive points, which is insane. They can be magic, rare, and unique, and they will be starting to drop from the coast onwards. We will be able to see them very early on in the game, but we don't know yet at which point they become valuable, because the mod pool on the cluster jewels is dependent on item level and dependent on the enchant that they drop with. The most top line on the jewel is actually an enchant and not an implicit, meaning this doesn't get changed when you corrupt them, and they drop with these enchants, and the enchants will not be able to be changed. So we'll see how this works out. It is confirmed that the jewel generated passives other than sockets will be free to respec, so no big need for regret orbs. And we have a list of 280 new notable passive points that we got fully released already on pathofexile.com. I went over this on my stream, twitch.tv/CatmasterOP, and made a tier list, A, B, C, D, E, F, and S. And I'm gonna make a video about the tier list, which I'll upload right after this one. People are already planning builds that are viable with around 70-80 points on the tree itself, so that they can end up spending a lot of points into these cluster jewels. There will be more pressure than ever on your passive skill tree for optimizing, but there will also be more customization than ever, because you cannot follow a build guide for a tree blindly anymore, because you will have to roll the cluster jewels and you will have to make decisions. Is this better or is this better? Should I use this or that? Because you will never be able to 100% replicate a build guide's tree. There will be new skills in this expansion, of course, as well. One of the new active skills is a Blade Blast. All blade spells, which are Ethereal Knives, Blade Vortex, and Blade Fall, now leave blades. That's not exactly true. EK and BF leave blades. Blade Vortex just has blades flying around you that you can detonate with Blade Blast. Blade Blast will detonate the blades and deal damage in an area, and these explosions chain. The blades, however, called Lingering Blades, can also be animated by Animate Weapon, which is amazing because it makes the skill playable outside of Chains of Command setups again. Another skill that gets added is the Kinetic Bolt 1 skill, which looks very promising and has a built-in fork mechanic, very strong. We get Stormbind, which is a channeling skill that kind of is a two-part skill where you first place runes on the ground and then afterwards you charge them and you release to detonate them. There's also a new support gem called Spellslinger, which you can put on your spells to turn them into a reservation, which will then in turn proc the supported spells whenever you fire a wand attack with a cooldown of half a second. This is basically a poor man's cast on crit and makes this trigger style spellcaster playable at low levels with wands, which is amazing and very promising. Another support gem that we're getting is the Archmage support, which will replace the mana cost on your skill by a percentage of your unreserved mana, and then whenever you cast it, you gain flat lightning damage to spells based on how much mana you expended, which makes a sort of mind over matter, a lot of unreserved mana archetype very viable, because previously they weren't really able to utilize their unreserved mana offensively because they needed that for casting and for mind over matter. And now you're gonna be able to do all kinds of crazy stuff. The third support gem that we're getting in Path of Exile 3.10 is called Second Wind. This one gives supported skills cooldown recovery speed and allows you to use them once more before they go on cooldown. This is great because movement skills like Frost Blink or Dash can now be used a second time, or for example Blink Arrow, right? It cannot support triggered skills because that would be just OP for the cooldown recovery speed, but this is going to be amazing for movement skills. Alongside those changes, GGG also reworked all the movement skills in order to create more of a diverse choice. Flame Dash will have a slightly higher cooldown, and the other ones all gained some sort of power. Metamorph will be going core with a 10% base chance to appear in maps, also a Sextant modifier and a set of Scarabs. Metamorph Scarabs will drop from Aisling in Intervention. Her previous Intervention reward, Veiled Jewelry, is baked into her Fortification and Transport rewards. Every Metamorph encounter will have an opportunity for Catalysts. Metamorph will be the only way to get Catalysts at the moment. Further changes include Conqueror spawning will be deterministic. Yes, you heard right. In Path of Exile 3.10, after you get the influence on a region in the Atlas, you will have a progress bar towards the Conqueror boss fight, in which you exactly know which of the following maps that you're running will have Conqueror influence and hence spawn extra monsters. This is amazing. And we're also getting a whole lot of other quality of life changes alongside the mapping. We'll get a system of preferred maps where, based on objectives that we complete in the region, we'll be able to favor maps per region in order to raise their drop rates by a factor of 10. This is to counteract the big concerns that a lot of community members had with people leaving parts of their atlas uncompleted in order to drop only the maps that they want to chain run. And with this change in the game, 90% of people will prefer to complete the entire atlas and to use this preferred map system, because uncompleting things will only be more efficient in very, very niche cases. On top of this, Sextant recipes are back. We will be able to uptrade our Sextants once more 3 for 1, and there will be additional incentives for high awakening levels. The way that awakening level works is also different. It is not based anymore on how many zones have 4 watchstones socketed, but per 4 watchstones socketed anywhere in your atlas, you gain 1 awakening level. Meaning you could have 2 here, 2 there, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, and you'd have awakening level 2 because you have 8 socketed, which is great because it allows you to customize your atlas further with the watchstone socketing. Val's side areas also got buffed. Areas and maps will be always rare now. So Val's side areas are going to be amazing because they're going to be harder, they're going to have more pack size, more density, and they also get buffed bosses and probably also slightly buffed rewards, I would assume. The Temple of Atzeratel has been largely reworked. A lot of rooms now grant pack size and density, and better rewards. You get more rare items with the temple mods, and all in all, it seems very promising because incursion temples are always like a free map of the highest tier that you ran recently with incursion. So getting those will be very great with the new league, in which we're also not going to be able to get incursion mods anymore from the map. GGG also took away a lot of fossil exclusive mods from fossils and put them onto the influenced bases, which is a slight nerf to fossil crafting, which is totally okay because fossil crafting was super strong and still will be super strong, because now you will still fossil craft, only you will need the specific influence base that grants the mod that you want to roll. But this is also a buff to other methods of crafting relative to fossil crafting, because essence crafting will now also be able to roll the mods that were previously exclusive to fossils. I'm personally hyped about the dark, oppressive League feeling that we get from the trailer. This scary, mysterious world building is exactly my type. I miss a lot of horror in Path of Exile, the feeling of unease and the feeling of permanent threat. It's a little bit less comical, but it's kind of a back to the basics League in the sense that it is similar to Legion and Breach and Beyond. It spawns additional monsters, it is hard, it is punishing, and it interacts with all League mechanics other than those leagues that I just mentioned. It interacts with everything that you can find other than Delve, so it's going to be incredibly good. The new jewel sockets provide new build options. We get all the new passive points, and yeah, no two builds will be the same because of this new level of endgame in-depth customization. There is 2 or 3 downsides that we're concerned about at the moment, and that's mostly performance, as Chris Wilson in an interview has said that there will be potentially moments that affect performance, but historically GGG has been really, really good reacting to problems early on in the league, so I expect fixes if there's problems. The visual clutter, they already said that it's not going to be as bad because skills used on the ground will make the fog go to the side, like blow the fog away, so you can see ground effects like barrels or a flame blast from a rogue exile or something like that. So let's see how that turns out. But again, if it's bad, GGG will fix it, and they've been excellent. GGG has been incredible with the amount of community feedback that they were able to implement into this league so far. Obviously, on top of everything, the system of preferred maps, which apparently was done really, really quickly after people raised their concerns on Reddit. But we also get, for example, the master missions on the map device. You won't have to go to Einhard, to Nico, to Zana anymore and to ask them to open the map, but you can actually just go to your map device and we will have an option of master missions where we have a display, how many we have, and we can just select it. And there was like a bunch of things really that they did. The stash tab layout is automatically copied from the parent league now. They reduced the favor costs for most hideout decorations, and they even reacted to feedback on the Delirium wings, which is the highest tier reward for 36 completed challenges. They even reworked that when people said, we don't like this, we don't like that. They look amazing now, so, you know, hands down. Build planning is going to be a little bit more complicated. Tools are going to take a while to catch up, but unlike the Legion jewels, I think the new cluster jewels are going to be really easy for the team around local identity to implement into Path of Building. I'm very confident that they're going to do it within the first week, almost, probably. So, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. As I said, going forward, there will be at least 2 videos per week, if not 3 or 4. And make sure you say hi on the live stream, twitch.tv/CatmasterOP. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if there's anything at all that you would like to hear about. And I'll see you in the next video. Best of luck for your League start in 3.10, guys.